Welcome back. You're watching the Citizen Business Centre. Now, unemployment remains a major socio-economic challenge in Kenya. The enormity of this challenge was evident last Sunday when thousands of unemployed Kenyans thronged the Kasarani Stadium in a scramble for the 20,000 jobs advertised by a hitherto unknown NGO. Now, there are now growing doubts of the genuineness of the organization and its promised jobs, but the turnout and similar responses to related offers point to a growing desperation for opportunities and faith in employment bureaus for scarce job offers. But then how can a job seeker distinguish a hoax from a genuine recruitment agency? Tonight, I'm joined by Nancy Mokua, the CEO of My Jobs in Kenya. That's a response handling portal. Basically, they assist human resource departments with automated shortlisting. Thank you so much, Nancy, for joining us. And we've also got Pamina Swainaina, a recruitment consultant with corporate staffing services. Thank you both so much for joining us. Quite an unfortunate situation, you know, if the allegations do come out as true. 20,000 Kenyans and perhaps even up to 40,000 according to the numbers that we have been receiving, being taken advantage of. What are your immediate thoughts about that situation, Nancy?
I think, Terry, and first of all, thank you so much for having me here. It's indeed a pleasure, and it's indeed very sad for the job seekers that were duped with this recent thing that we saw on the news. So the first thing that comes on mind for every recruiter is, why are job seekers so keen to rush with the process of applying for jobs? Yes, we know there are so many people who are desperate out there, but I think we fail to understand that we need to do due diligence. We need to act with care and caution before you apply for any job. Carry out just a spot check. Do a little research, know about the company, a little background, and then go forward. And of course, we'll come to that in just a moment, so that Kenyans can, you know, get to understand, how do I tell the difference between something that's genuine and a hoax? Pamina, what were your immediate thoughts after listening to that story?
I think for me, that shows how desperate Kenyans have become. I've talked to some people, came to me asking me about the genuineness of the job, and you could see some people have been job searching for the last 2 or 3 years, and if all it takes is 300 shillings or 1,000 to get a job, then they're going to give it a trial. Some of them actually will go to relatives to ask for this money. Yeah, and what you find, the interesting thing with these scammers is they'll go for those professions where there are a lot of job seekers. So they'll go for the NGO, accountants, admin, because they know they'll capitalize on the numbers. But then again, as Kenyans, we have this culture where we believe we have to pay to get something, if it's a job, if it's a connection. So it's also within our culture that we believe we have to give something to receive. Yeah. Talking about culture, and you know, I'm curious about it because it's a very thin line here, because I think this is a situation where scammers are preying on unsuspecting job seekers. So in as much as it could be, you know, our culture to sort of try to pay for something, I think it points towards desperation, you know, more than a culture, so to speak. Nancy?
That's very true. Like in my field, we meet hundreds of job seekers every day. They either come to the office or they call the office. So there are a lot of people who are desperate, although there are also a lot of jobs out there. So we are actually trying to be that proper link for these two people. So job seekers, of course, they're desperate. You've got your rent to make, you've got your kids to feed, you've got your parents to maybe take care of. So that's why desperation is a major thing when people are looking for jobs. And we also realize that a lot of job seekers, for example, you know, when you act with a lot of haste, of course you're going to miss some key pointers. And then you think, as Pamias, my colleague, has just mentioned, you're thinking, okay, I must know someone to get somewhere. So job seekers are normally not completely prepared, or because of desperation, they will not care. They'll just ask someone, give me this money so that I can get this job. I must know someone to be able to get this job.
Paminas, when somebody comes to you and they think, you know, there's a likelihood that they are falling for a scam, what do you tell them are some of the things that they should look out for? Like, what are the characteristics of a scammer, so to speak?
Number one, within a scam, they're going to ask for money. with a promise of a job. So anyone asking you to pay on a basis of a promise, that's typically a scam. Second, you have to be very careful when it comes to scam, because they are going to advertise where genuine employers and recruiters advertise. So it may be the newspapers, internet, social media, social places, because some of these organizations, they even go to the churches, you know, and be introduced to the members. So the other thing you have to be suspicious of is if the deal sounds too good, you need to be careful. For example, if someone is calling you for an internship and they are telling you the internship you'll be paid 75,000 shillings, that's definitely not realistic. So there are some pointers. If you dig just a little bit deep and verify, like Nancy said, some of these things you come out. And again, make Google your friend. I can tell you for this scam, before people went on Saturday, it had been trending for a month. So if you just went and put some of these organizations on Google, you're going to find out what people are talking about, and you'll be informed.
Nancy, what is the best way of trying to find a job? You know, you're in the space where you're dealing with HR companies, you're dealing with job seekers who are uploading, you know, their CVs on your portal. What is the best way of looking for a job in Kenya today?
For number one, you should know about your fit, your own fit, your qualifications, what you are good at. And I would really discourage job seekers from applying for each and every job, because as a recruiter, from the other end, for example, a job seeker will apply for a job because they can drive, they want to be a driver, it's an NGO, they want to be a project officer and all that. The first thing is know your skills, make sure you're qualified for the job. Read the JD properly. If you're not qualified for the job, there will be another job, because I know job seekers want to try. They're desperate. They want to try. It's good to try, but also it's also good for job seekers to put themselves in also the HR's shoes. This is someone who has hundreds of CVs in front of them. So first of all, if someone does multiple applications, an organization has advertised, they're always sending their applications. They want to be this, and that. That just shows the HR, first of all, their name will become familiar to them. So when a job comes up that they're actually qualified for, they might not actually get a job, because this guy always sends us their CV, and then it will disqualify them. So number one, make sure you're qualified. Number two, look at the CV, follow the instructions. If the recruiter is telling you to send an email to a particular address, just do so. If you need to register or you need to go somewhere, just do that. But we've not met any recruiter that actually asks people to pay money. So it's actually surprising that a lot of people, more than 200,000 people, turned up to pay money for a job that really was not there. Yes.
All right. What are your thoughts, Paminas, on the same? And I'd like just to link that up with, you know, one of the things that we read about, and they say if somebody promises you a job without giving you an interview, then you must, you know, raise your brows about it. What are your thoughts on what Nancy has commented on it, around the best ways of finding a job, and you know, looking at the other side of what to look out for?
Yeah, just to add on to what Nancy has mentioned, you have to be very careful with the source. If you go to the bus stops and you find a vacancy listed there for, let's say, a general manager, it's highly unlikely that a serious company would be looking for a general manager in such a way. Then again, we have the few trusted websites, I think Nancy being one of them, where you can find genuine employers. The other thing also is being mindful of the organization that you're applying. If you've never heard of this organization, also Google and get to know who are these people. A very common scam in Kenya is where you find an employer who will tell you they are based in a very upmarket place where there's no public transport. So, and they will tell you you need to undergo some tests and all that. So be very careful with some of these new organizations. And like I said, the issue of salary, very high pay is one they capitalize on. And if you are a driver and someone is willing to pay you 100,000 shillings, surely we all know the market rate of a driver.
As we quickly wind up, Nancy, I can see you want to add something.
Yes, I just wanted to say, as a job seeker, even when you see this job somewhere, it's good, just pick up the phone, call the company, because as Pamia says, you've seen the advert on a notice board somewhere, or in the papers, or somewhere else online. Just call up the company and find out whether really they have these jobs, and really this person that is advertising or recruiting for this job has the mandate to do that. Then it is very easy. You'll avoid instances whereby job seekers are getting frustrated, or the recruiter is wondering, really, I've not even advertised for that particular position.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. Of course, quite a number of messages coming through, and we can sample that as I say thank you to Nancy Mokua, the CEO of My Jobs in Kenya, and Pamela Swainaina of Corporate Staffing Services. Now we'll just take some of your social media comments. We've got Leah Cargo saying, the job offer was too good though. Being a victim, I know most of us still had doubts, but still went on and applied. And Ruben Mwangi, you say majority of this con use at Mike Sonko, at Amina Mohammed, at Murkomen fake accounts, but ask you for cash to give you better jobs. And at James MK, you say there are lots of con men in the name of jobs. I was conned 2,999, I believe, shillings as my insurance fee and staff ID. And Collins Salastia, you say I was conned by a guy running a fake Musalia account, a Facebook account, that he is his PA to get a job in Sabatier Division. Thank you so much for engaging with us. Do keep your thoughts coming. We will be back right after this break.
I am glad that I gave myself a chance with Doris, because you never loved me.